Welcome to Real Talk, Indiana's premier talk show on real estate investing, where we talk each week about investing your money right here in Central Indiana. The tips, tricks, do's, and don'ts, brought to you by CIREIA, Central Indiana's oldest and largest real estate investing association. Hello there, my name is Vicki Perry, and I'm the Executive Director of CIREIA. We have over 600 members, all active in or learning how to be active in real estate here in the Indiana market. This radio show is available on FM 95.9, AM 950, podcast on YouTube, and www.cireia.org. Join us each week as we talk about how you can make your money more active with better returns and help the community that you live in with real estate done the right way. Now, on with the show.
And welcome to Real Talk, real estate investing the right way. My name is Brett Snodgrass with simplewholesaling.com, and I'm one of the affiliate partners with Central Indiana Real Estate Investors Association. And today I'm filling in for Ron Watson, our board president. So welcome to CIREIA's weekly show where we talk about investing in real estate the right way. We talk about the ups, the downs, the rewards, and the financial gains. We're the largest and oldest nonprofit real estate investment group in the state, and our goal is to help you understand what opportunities are out there for you. Whether you have a lot of time to invest, minimal time, lots of funds, or minimal funds. Last week, we talked with Greg Peterson, investor, lender, and instructor of our Notes subgroup. If you missed that episode, you can watch it on the CIREIA channel on YouTube or tune in on our website at www.cireia.org. That's CIREIA.org on the calendar of events. Today, joining me, my co-host is rehabber and coach and co-owner of Perfect Launch Mentoring, Dave Short.
It's great to be here. We've got a great show today, and we're going to get some really good information.
Definitely. And also joining us today are the two owners of New Paradox, who is a full-service, one-stop shop real estate company, Will Hull and Dustin Rule.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Brett? What's up? Thanks for having us.
No, welcome to the show. We're super excited about today. This is the first time we've talked to a company like yours that you pretty much do a lot of different types of strategies when it comes to real estate investing. But let's start off with your story. How did you meet, and how did you both get started in real estate investing?
Yeah, so I got into real estate investing like everybody else, was just kind of knew that real estate was a great avenue. Had a lot of wanted to get into the financial part of it as far as having rentals and doing all that, and was trying to find how I could get my foot in the door. I was working full-time when I first started. Wholesaling seemed like the way to go. It's a lot of bigger pockets and all those other podcasts. So kind of went down that road, started wholesaling, and that's kind of how I did that for probably, and still do that, but I was doing it just by myself for probably about a year and a half, and then slowly started building a team to, behind me and kind of working my way out of certain positions. And we started wholesaling a lot of properties to Dustin, who was at the time kind of doing a lot of turnkeys and some rehabs with him. And I did a few rehabs along the way. I'd always had one or two rehabs going, really light rehabs, but we were primarily focused on wholesaling. And so Dustin and I just naturally started working really good together. And he, I'll let him tell him a little bit more, but he wasn't doing a ton of wholesaling. He was kind of the opposite, doing a little bit of wholesaling, but primarily rehabbing and turnkeying. And our strengths and weaknesses played so well off each other that we're like, man, we could do more together. It's the old saying, 1 + 1 should equal 4, right? And so he had it, and we just started talking about it, and it just kind of naturally kind of grew into that partnership. And we're like, hey, man, I think we could really, do something pretty cool here that most people can't offer because of our experience in different parts of real estate.
Awesome. How about you, Dustin? How did you get into real estate investing in the first place? And then talk about your relationship with Will here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in banking I've been in financial services for 12 years up until I started really investing in real estate. I like to tell a story. My first deal I did in 2010, I found a little rental in Fishers, and it was a pretty good deal. And I was freaking out about making the decision on how I should buy it. Should I pull money from my 401k and take the tax hit because I think I'll make it up on the equity on the house? How am I going to rehab this thing? How am I going to lease it? All the things that go through a first-time home buyer, jitters. And so I was freaking out the whole time. I was thinking I was going to go bankrupt and all this kind of stuff, but I still pulled the trigger anyway. And I was like to say, that was my first deal, and then 4 years later, I was doing 100 deals a year. So it's a little crazy how that all transitions.
You're on the fast track.
Absolutely.
Are you both indie guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. So, but yeah. So I started doing turnkey in 2012, working with people across the country and kind of delve into, I saw the market starting to shift from being able to buy inventory off of the MLS. I was also buying a lot from other wholesalers, but I started seeing wholesalers and kind of the risk diversion that would happen from wholesaling as far as taking on all the risk of rehabbing a house and selling it. And so I wanted to do a little bit of both. And so that's when I decided to start wholesaling as well. And during that time I met Will, and that was that. So
your company is very different than a lot of the companies out there, and you offer some very unique items. So, what kind of services do you offer your investors that's working with you? I'm assuming you work with a lot of investors and not just for your own account.
Yeah, so we work. That was the beauty of part of this partnership is we wholesale a lot of houses. Obviously, we do a lot of those. We do turnkeys. We do certain houses where we sell the investor a wholesale. More experienced guys, we'll sell them the house at a wholesale price. But they're out of state. Some of them are out of country. We're a couple of them in Israel. Primarily, though, a lot of West Coast guys. And we'll get the bids for them. We'll kind of manage the project for them.
Before you get too deep in it, explain, because a lot of our viewers won't understand what turnkey means.
Yeah.
It's a pretty...
Yeah. I think it varies for different people how the turnkey process works, but as a general whole, a turnkey, full turnkey is what it's supposed to be, is where our company buys the property, fully renovates the property, and has the buyer does an inspection on the property and passes inspection, and then they can either buy it in cash or they buy it with leverage. And typically the house should appraise for what you're selling the home for. And then that property should come with a tenant in place.
So you already lease it for them? And
correct.
So
it's a full service.
It's a full service. Okay,
correct.
Cool.
Correct. That's how it should work.
It doesn't work that way all the time?
No. And, sometimes, and I'm not going to, throw every wannabe turnkey down the road here, because sometimes you get in a situation where sometimes it doesn't work that way for even the best of us, and so you start getting into, you're doing a lot of deals at one time, and you're trying to manage contractors, you're trying to get, tenants in place, and you have clients wanting to close on these houses because they have rate locks getting ready to expire. So, you try to manage all of those relationships. Sometimes it doesn't work out perfectly, but the most ideal situation is to have it, all of that check out and they're closing and it's already performing. So.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We are talking with Dustin Rule and Will Hull from New Paradox about turnkey investing and wholesaling and flipping. And when we get back, we're going to dive into why it's so important to have so many exit strategies and exactly what does that mean after this break. Welcome back to Real Talk, Real Estate Investing the Right Way. I am Brett Snodgrass, and I'm one of the affiliate partners with Central Indiana Real Estate Investors Association. And today we're talking to Will Hull and Dustin Rule from New Paradox, and also my amazing co-host Dave Short, who's one of the most sought-after rehabbers in Central Indiana.
Well, I got a great question for you. We all started as one-man shows, and basically it sounds like you did too.
Yep.
Tell us what that looked like then and how you grew into what it looks like today.
Yeah, so when I first started, I was working full-time, and, I would go out on the nights and weekends, primarily looking at houses, and, evaluating them, and we were just wholesaling houses, and I was doing 1 or 2 deals a month. And a good month for me back then was probably three deals, possibly 4. And so, the biggest thing I did is I went, we got some great clubs here. When you talk about CIREIA, and there's a number of other great investment clubs that are out there. I just went to them. I didn't know anybody there, didn't know one person, started talking to people. I started talking to people like Dave, who are rehabbing. I started talking to some other guys who are buy and hold guys, some other big providers in town in Indy, and just started asking them, what are you looking for? What's the deal structures look like? Show them the deal, and they would tell you, hey, you're way off here, or this is not an $80,000 rehab, this is a $100,000 rehab, or this is, this rents for $800, not $900, and they would tell you, and they would help you. I mean, people like Dave, and I think a lot of other people in Indianapolis they depend on wholesalers to bring them deals. So they're wanting to help you, so you understand, so you can bring them the deal, and then they would essentially buy it. And by wholesale, at the time, you're basically looking out. You've got a buyer in mind when you're out there looking to buy a house and find them a good deal. So
I can tell you that I put one of the houses that we got from Will on the market yesterday. We bought it from him for $71,000,
Yep.
and we put it on the market yesterday for $309,000. So,
Wow, as is, like no work.
pretty much. You don't have to do anything to make. But no, we spent some money on the house.
I got to get to Dave's coaching class. Clearly not.
That's awesome.
Dustin, same with you. Same question. You talked about your Fisher's house, so you obviously was one man show out there trying to figure out how you're going to do it.
Yeah. I took a little different path. I actually went from my banking corporate job, and took a private job with a private company here in Indy in 2011, and they were doing the exact same thing, except they were buying probably 200 houses a year, rehabbing them and selling them turnkey. And so that's kind of how I learned the business. I got basically thrown in as a associate sales guy, and I took the chance because I thought, from a money standpoint, I was like, man, I think I can make more money doing this than being a banker. So I took the chance, and at that point, I found out that we were pregnant with our 3rd child, and I had no insurance at that point, and my wife was looking at me like, man, you're an idiot. But
I still get that.
Yeah. So, but lo and behold, I mean, that's an absolute God thing, because I learned a ton. I ended up running. I was director of sales, so I ended up in charge of looking at hundreds of different houses come in. I've learned how to scale the business. I learned how to manage construction crews, and look for what investors look for from a turnkey standpoint. So I ended up learning that. I did that for about 4 years, and then decided to leave, and go out on my own. And so, and then at that point, I was on my own for a couple of years before Will and I joined together. So, but
That's cool. Thanks for sharing your story. I know sometimes people look at us, and you guys have an amazing team, and I have a team, and Dave has a team, and they think it comes so easy, but we have to take ourselves back to where we got started. I was a one-man show for 6 or 7 years, so I can relate. And so if you're out there listening, it's okay. You have to start off, and you have to wear all the hats before you can, scale and build that business. But when you were a one-man show, both you guys, and what was the most important thing in your business at that time? If someone is just starting out, what's the one area they should focus on the most?
Well, it's definitely going out and meeting with the sellers. I mean, that's the number one. That's the last thing I gave up when I started doing this. I had a lady that basically was a stay-at-home mom who was looking for some extra work, and she's still with us today, three years later. And she does an awesome job, but she handled a lot. She's done every role, but at the time when I hired her, she was just doing follow-up calls. And then as I started getting busier, keep in mind, I'm still working full time. She'd start handling some of the closings, as far as just tracking them and all that. So I could keep focused out there meeting with sellers, negotiating deals and buying houses. And then I was doing everything else, right? Selling them and all that other stuff. And so so I backed myself out of that job. So she helped me out there big time. Then I started, we kind of kept buying. Then we increased our advertising on how much we were spending. And then I hired a VA. It was the cheapest way to do it at the time. So I hired a VA to take all the incoming calls. So I took myself out of that role.
And when you say VA, explain what that is.
That's a virtual assistant. And the one that I use specifically is real estate investing, is from another company that specifically has VAs, virtual assistants for real estate investors. So she was kind of pre-trained on how to do all this.
What's that called? The website for the virtual assistants?
Well, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is now. Yeah.
Okay.
But
that changed anyway. Sorry about
it. Did change. Yeah.
So you hired a VA to take the calls, and then
I think My Outdesk is who they are now. They've changed names, I think, 2 or 3 times since we've hired her. She's been with us too. She's been with us almost 3 years.
Wow.
Same VA. So, and then so then after that, I hired another acquisitions lady who was helping buying houses because I couldn't keep up, and we were continuing to gradually just spend more money on advertising. And then once I brought her on board, then I hired a dispositions person. And so this all happens probably about 8 months at a time. So every 6 months to 8 months, as I'm spending more money on advertising, I'm slowly backing myself out of another job. And then, now, and then we've partnered with Dustin. Now we have 3, we have 3 acquisitions people. We have 2 full-time. We got one, Wendy, who's just started with us, we're training to be our 3rd acquisitions person. We have a dispositions person. And then we moved one of our, Noelle, who was doing our acquisitions. She's now over operations to help us, keep track of wires coming in and out and deals and where everything's supposed to be happening. And so this team, we just kind of keep growing it one person at a time. And so you're right. I think it's important. None of this happens overnight, and it doesn't happen quickly. And it's really important that you back yourself out, in my opinion, when you're a one-man band, one job at a time, and you never give up that most important one, which was, to me, was always the acquisitions side, till you absolutely have to.
Because you make the money when you buy the deal.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where you don't make the money when you sell the deal. You can squeeze out a little bit of money when you sell the deal, but if you buy a really great deal, it's not hard to make money.
Right.
So.
Right.
On your investors, like a lot of our audience will be potential investors for you guys. What do you bring what do you bring to the table for them, and what can they expect to make or do, and how can you help them satisfy their real estate needs?
Well, I think it's really important to understand from the investor standpoint, everybody's different. Everybody has, we've developed exit strategies within our business. And when we say exit strategy, we talk about, when we get that deal, what are we going to do with that deal? Are we going to renovate it and turn it into our own personal rental? Or are we buying in an area of town where it's, happening, a lot of retail sales are going on where, the numbers work where you renovate the home and, you renovate it and then put it on the market to sell it. Or are you just going to, are you going to go ahead and hold it for yourself as selling on land contract? There's so many different exit strategies that an investor can do with the deal, the house. It's just a matter of sitting down with our dispositions manager, Amy, and having a conversation with her about, this is my objective, this is my goals, and then our job is to help you accomplish that. And so that's really ideally for when we get that deal, what do we do next with it?
Are you actively looking for investors?
We are. Yeah, absolutely. We're only as good as our clients. Mm-hmm. And so.
Yeah, and I think it's important. We at Simple Wholesaling, we kind of have we're a one-trick pony. We wholesale properties, but you guys have found that the strategy of having different exit strategies is awesome. And I think a lot of that has developed from your partnership. And we're going to take a little bit of a break, but after we get back, we're going to talk about why you guys decided to partner together and what that means. Welcome back to Real Talk, Real Estate Investing the Right Way. I am Brett Snodgrass with SimpleWholesaling.com, and I am one of the affiliate partners with Central Indiana Real Estate Investors Association. And today we're talking to Will Hull and Dustin Rule, owners of New Paradox. And also with us is Dave Short, one of the most sought-after rehabbers in Central Indiana.
Dustin, I got a great question for you since you're the turnkey expert.
Sure.
I've talked to a lot of turnkey providers, and I have an opinion. If you'll tell me I'm right or wrong, I think turnkey's been big all over the country: Atlanta, Memphis now, Nashville, Indianapolis. Why is it better to use a local turnkey provider versus a national turnkey provider? And kind of explain the difference of both. Both.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's a great question. Yeah, because it is happening. I mean, you see a lot of companies that sell the turnkey model, and they make you as an investor feel like they're on the ground, but they usually have partnered with somebody on the ground in that local market, and so if you're really going to sell a turnkey product that is fully transparent, fully engaged with the local market, going through a local company, going straight to a local company can probably save you a lot of headache. Not to say that some of the national guys aren't good folks and do things the right way, but you hear a lot of stories that it doesn't pan out that way, because at the end of the day, the local turnkey is street by street, and the local guys really know where the good little areas are, the pockets that are starting to come up, that are good for long-term holds. Where right now you might be able to buy something for $45,000, and as an investor not being in the market, you hear $45,000, you think you're buying slumlord properties. Where in a lot of cases, a lot of stuff that we're seeing is stuff's coming up in areas where it's coming up. If you buy it for 45 today, it could be worth 80 in 2 years. It really could. I mean, you look at places like Fountain Square and Bates Hendricks. People wanted to touch those areas 3 or 4 years ago, and the locals that did are, they're doing well right now. So there's advantages, to those two working directly with a turnkey provider. And one thing that happens with your local turnkey guys is they're spending so much time acquiring properties, rehabbing them, managing them, leasing them, that they don't have time to do the marketing that it takes to, acquire a new client from California, from different parts of the country. And so those marketing companies that, and national guys that all they do is focus on acquiring new clients, and then they just pass them off to your local providers. That happens a lot, and it works. It works. Sometimes there's only probably 2 or 3 providers that I think are pretty strong. But yeah, I mean, to answer the local side of it is really, at the end of the day too, it's a scale business. So if you come straight to the turnkey provider, a local, they're dealing in bulk, so they're working with the contractors in bulk. They're working with Home Depot or Lowe's in bulk. So a lot of stuff that because they're dealing in bulk, the discounts that you can get are typically pretty fair, and you can pass those savings off to the end user. So
great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to talk about the investors that want to work with New Paradox, and I know that Dave, you work with retail home buyers. You flip a house and you sell to a retail home buyer, but you mainly work with investors. So if someone's out there, they're listening and they are interested in working with New Paradox, who are you looking for? What type of investor? Are they hands-off totally, hands-on a little bit? But describe who your favorite clients are.
We don't have any favorites, Brett.
Oh, okay. I thought I was.
Yeah. Besides you. So, no, I mean, I think that's what's unique about our business and our model is we work from guys who have never done a deal before, whether it's a rehab or a rental home, to guys who have done hundreds of them. And we adjust to them and whatever their needs are. I don't know that we have a perfect, I think at the end of the day, I mean, we're talking about, the turnkey and why local. And to me, Dave, and you were asking the question to Dustin, it's because what's the beauty about what we do is we're typically selling a house that we have went out, negotiated with the seller, so we know more about it. We've then had our contractors run out who are very familiar with turnkey and know what to look for, that help us too, that are our feet on the street. And the buck stops with us. And if something goes wrong, then we got to be there. It's not a guy in Atlanta or Arizona that's doing it. It's Will Hull or Dustin Rule that's going out to the property to figure out what's going on. And I think, we had an instance. Not everything's perfect. We always, as you guys know, but people hear the word turnkey and think that you never touch the property again and you never hear about it. It just continues to bring in this massive amount of revenue. And unfortunately, sometimes things go wrong, and that's where you want a good partnership with whoever you're buying a house from, because we had an instance where we sold a house and pretty much turnkey, and we had a unforeseen thing once the tenant moved in, right? That had happened that nobody was really aware of, and it was about a $5,000 problem. So it was not we had so we get this, and of course we're getting contacted, and right away I responded to the guy, "Hey, can you jump on a call with me?" And already he's probably thinking I'm going to try to talk my way out of why we're not going to do anything. The property's already sold, tenant's already in, our obligation is over at this point, so to speak. And I said, "Hey man, I want to let you know that first off, I apologize. We clearly didn't know anything about this. We're going to take care of this. We're going to make this right." And I stress the importance of, we have an opportunity here. We have a $5,000 opportunity to really show somebody what a true partnership is. And that's what people really want to know. When things go great all the time, partnerships are easy. Marriages are easy. All those things are easy. It's when you hit a snag in the road that you really find out who you're doing business with. And I think, and we had an opportunity here to really show somebody what kind of partner we can be. And 3 days later, we were on the phone with Amy. This was his first property he ever bought off of us. This is his first experience. And we're on the hunt for another property for him.
Nice.
And he's on board, and he's probably feeling more reassured now than ever. And if you're not dealing with people local like that, and some of these big providers out of state, I don't know that you're going to get that service. Maybe you would. I don't think you get it quite that quick. So we work with people like him that are looking for those, for those kind of things. We're looking for people who are looking for rehab projects like Dave. Experienced rehabbers. The MLS is so tight right now. It's so hard to find deals. I don't even know how many guys are even looking on there anymore, because things get bid up, or it's just they think it's a waste of time. And so we're looking for any for the mom, for the person that just wants one or two rentals, to the person who wants to fix it up themselves, to people like Dave who are experienced rehabbers.
Do you manage your own turnkeys?
We don't, and that's another thing. We have about 3 providers, and I think this is why it's good local. Dustin, we've used different property management companies in the past. We basically say, here's 3. If in a couple different scenarios, depending on how the investor wants to work, right? Sometimes, like now, we'll have them leased out with our property management. If it's already leased, it's already in agreement with our property management company, and they can use whoever they want, but that's who we've got it set up with. If they're buying the house off of us, say they're buying it wholesale, we help them with the rehab. We give them 3 recommendations of property managers we personally use. So these are guys that are managing my personal properties, Dustin's personal properties, and we let them vet them out from that standpoint. To me, that's the hardest thing to do in this whole turnkey thing is to be able to manage these things. We leave that to the experts.
I mean, I think that's a great point that a lot of people don't understand how a good point that is, because a lot of the turnkey providers I know of manage their own product, and that just creates another layer of potential problems.
It does. So,
do you mind sharing? And I just like to be transparent. Do you mind sharing a few of those companies? Or
yeah, absolutely. We use Chad Stickley with A Step Ahead Management. He's got some of my own personal properties that we use and we recommend to people, and we've recommended to our clients who have had really good success with him.
Brick Lane. We use Brick Lane a little bit.
Yep.
Doug Dale. He runs a pretty good operation. And then we use Equity Management Services. Brian Adams and Lindsay Adams. Good folks. Real good folks. Yep. So, and we've done we also done some stuff with Park Place. Ryan Cadwell with Park Place Management. He's been doing it about 10 years. So, it's what people want, and they make their own decisions. We pass them off, and we've used them all, and everybody has their ups and downs with every property manager. Nobody's perfect by any means, but it's your own personal preference, and we don't definitely want to get in the way of that. So we've beta tested 4 or 5 different ones, and these are the ones we use.
So would you say, Will, you talked about your services, and this is kind of a service industry. Do you feel that that's why some turnkey companies or some real estate investors in general fail, and that's what separates you from some of the other turnkey companies, some of the other wholesalers, is because when things go wrong, you're there, you're facing it, and you're providing a service? Do you think that can you guys elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think one of the benefits we have is typically a turnkey provider would buy from a wholesaler, and then, we kind of have a leg up there because you don't always know what you're getting when you're buying from a wholesaler. You don't know the background of the story, what the house. We have a huge advantage to be able to sit and when we're talking to the seller, we know everything about the house. What was it, grandma's house? Was it a rental house? We most of the secrets. These people are very upcoming. We've looked at this house a lot, and so I think that helps us make sure that, hey, some houses may look like they'd be a good one for a rental or a good area, and once you really kind of know the backstory, like, this is probably not a good one, or this one is a good one. It's been a one-time homeowner. Its whole life it's been very, very well maintained and taken care of. Then you're like, this would be a great rental. We come in here with some carpet paint, slap HVAC system in it, and it's pretty well to get, it's good to go. So I think that's one of the advantages we have, is because we get to see these properties right from the start.
Awesome. Well, that's wraps up this segment of the show, guys. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to put Will and Dustin on the hot seat, and one of the questions I've been itching to ask is about your partnership and why it's so special. And welcome back to Real Talk, Real Estate Investing the Right Way. I am Brett Snodgrass, and I'm one of the affiliate partners with Central Indiana Real Estate Investors Association. And today we're talking to Will Hull and Dustin Rule, owners of New Paradox. And with me is my co-host Dave Short, who's one of the most sought-after flippers in Central Indiana. So Dustin and Will, you guys were doing your own businesses, and you decided to partner up. I know that I've heard horror stories from partnerships getting divorced, right? With marriages and in business, that can happen if things go the wrong way. So this is seeming to work for you guys. So number one, why did you guys decide to partner up, and how has it increased your business?
Yeah, so I think the main reason we partnered up was because we, if we take a profile test, we're exact opposites. We don't match up at all, and that's, we didn't get in a partnership because we're buddies, from way back, or because we both like to golf, or because, we thought it'd be a great idea. We did it because we knew my strengths, and his weaknesses, and my weaknesses and his strengths, were played very well to each other. He's, Dustin is I'm more of a systems and processes, type of person, which was why I was able to create a team and do all that. Dustin is extremely good at acquisitions, dispositions, deal structuring, much better than I, being able to see that opportunity. And so I would agree. I think now real estate has a unique way of doing a partnerships, that you can do partnerships with real estate very easily. And it's just, you can JV with people, you can create these partnerships where it's very easy to start and dissolve without any issues or problems. And him and I went at it with like, hey, let's try it out. We set up very easily where if it works, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. And let's just see how it plays out. And we hired a business coach, and we did all, a lot of different things that really helped us. And I would have never guessed it would have went as well as it has. But I goes back to, he's really good at what he does, and I know that, and I leave it to him. And I think, vice versa. And we stay out of each other's way, and we don't try to interfere. And that's how you multiply. That's how you start multiplying. So,
well, I think it's also good to know, because in partnerships, even though you stay out of each other's way, you always find that you get into each other's way. And a lot of times that's what frustrates you the most. And for us, we get into each other's way, but it doesn't bug us. I mean, it doesn't like put us over the top. And but we know when to get back in our own lanes. And so I think that's been key to our success as well, is even though we have our faults, like our faults don't bother each other to a point where it's like, I can't work with this guy. So I actually like working with him.
During the break, you had mentioned that you had some rookie mistakes. And would you talk about those?
I like to hear other people's failures.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, man. Where do you start?
You've had more than one?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't even call it a rookie mistake. It's just, bonehead mistakes. I would say, to Dave's point, he made a good point earlier that even though he has partnerships where in certain situations, he's still going to go check on properties no matter what, no matter who he trusts. He's going to go walk that house and make sure he's doing it. People are doing it his way. And I think I made the mistake that I really trusted the people to do their jobs. And I didn't really have a good follow-up system. So at one time, I was probably rehabbing about, this is 2 years ago, I was probably rehabbing about 20 houses at one time. And this was just by myself. I was good at putting people around me. I had a bunch of contractors doing their jobs, and I had somebody GCing the jobs for me. But because I was so busy, I never checked on the jobs. And this one particular house I actually bought from Will is a really good house. And we turned it. It was a beautiful home as a hoarder house, and we literally trashed out 6 40-yard dumpsters of stuff out of this house.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy. But we did a phenomenal job in the renovation. Well, long story short, people moved into the house, and the first night they started using the laundry machine, and they're sitting in their bottom level, and water started gushing down the walls, and we're like, where is that coming from? And they went upstairs, turned the washing machine off, and they called a plumber. Plumber comes out and says, none of your plumbing is hooked up in this house. And they immediately called him like, is this really what happened? Because they had 3 inspections done, and not one inspection company caught it. So come to find out, my GC at the time never got final inspections done on the house. So we had electrical problems. We had plumbing problems that weren't passed off by the city. So fortunately, we got it all resolved. And we made it right with the homeowner, but that was another $10,000 expense after we closed on the property.
Wow.
So
that's a little bit bigger than a rookie mistake.
That was a bonehead.
But we've been there before.
Yeah, well, when you think you have inspections done and nobody brings it up, and these are professional inspection guns, like good inspection gun, they don't catch it. But when you have that many jobs going on and you don't catch that stuff, that's kind of a bonehead move.
So that's why you have a company that will stand behind their work and their product when they put it forward.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
What about you, Will? You kind of started in the wholesaling arena, and it might not be, you didn't hook up the plumbing. But
I've never made that mistake.
But I think one of the
That's why I partner with the guy.
That's right. It's perfect. I think one of the most important things that we can teach real estate investors and why we have this show in the first place is not only what to teach people what to do, but it's what we also teach things to protect them, what not to do. Do you have any things that you tell new investors, you need to really watch out for this. I tried this. This was a mistake. Don't do this anymore or something.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can, if I look back on in the short time I've been doing this in the 3 years, this market has changed a ton in 3 years. And I wish, if I look back and depend on what your strategy is, I'm more of I got into this business for buy and hold. Is to create this legacy for myself and my family. And I wish I would have gotten in 2.5 years ago and 3 years ago and bought a lot more houses because I'm, now I'm buying them and the prices I'm paying now, which what I could have. And so I think we always say, well, I'm going to wait till the market gets better, or I'm going to wait till the market until there's a crash, or I'm going to wait. It's always going to wait. And I think you just got to get started, and you just got to do it, and you can't worry about. I can't sit there and dwell on what the prices are now. But I think a lot of people, I notice I go to a lot of these real estate meetings, and you see the same people talking about doing their first deal for like the last 2.5, 3 years, and they got every reason why they haven't done that deal. And there's just too many resources out there now. So I would say, I'll wait for the plug here for for the next part of the show. But I would say go out there and talk to people. I mean, there's more access to guys like you, Brett, to us, to Dave, than there ever has been. And there's more ways to do deal. If you don't have the experience and you got the money, be the money person. If you got the experience and not the money, then be the experienced person. So
We'll talk about that a little bit. One of the biggest things in real estate is you have to network. And what has that done for you? I know, Will, you've been a huge component. I've seen you every month at CIREIA. And talk about that. What has that done for your business? Going to your local CIREIA event and either hearing in education or networking. What has it done for you?
It's been huge. It's where I got my start, and I don't ever forget it. And a lot, it was connecting myself and figuring out who's who and what are they doing. And CIREIA does a great job. The first time I went to CIREIA, I was actually they had me there talking about wholesale, and I never even heard of CIREIA. And I think Vicky had just started at the time, and watching that grow has been huge for me. And so at the time, I used it to find guys I could sell deals to, and now we kind of use it to buy deals from other new guys, from new wholesalers that are looking, to buy their deals. So it's kind of coming full circle now, where I was a seller, and now we're kind of turning into becoming a buyer and helping those, and kind of giving back and helping out those people to help, bring in deals for us.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Dustin? Networking, important. How has it impacted you?
No, networking is huge, especially within our industry. The real estate, real estate community is a small community, and you can get a good name for yourself pretty quick, or a bad name for yourself pretty quick. And so, the best way to get a good name for yourself is to be networking, showing up at the CIREIA events, meeting up, having meetings with, companies like Brett's and ours. We've spent the last 6-7 years building our companies, and we're happy to pass off good knowledge to anybody that wants to listen. So I think that's really important as a newbie to really don't go spend $10,000 on a real estate course. Just come to your local CIREIA and sit down with guys that have been doing it, and we'll help you get through your school of hard knocks. So.
Cool. And you guys can check out, CIREIA's website at cireia.org, and there's a calendar of events on there where you can go to the main event, or there's a lot of subgroups as well. Thank you, Will and Dustin. We're running short on time. I know that you guys have been a wealth of knowledge on this show, and I appreciate you guys so much. If someone wants to reach out to you and your company, New Paradox, where's the best place for them to go? Yeah, go to our website, New Paradox, NUPARADOX.com, and we got all kinds of testimonials, videos on there of projects we're doing, projects we've done. If you're looking to buy a house from us, Amy Lawrence is the person to contact. Her phone number is 630-303-3444, and tell her what you're looking for, and we'll get to working for you. Go to our Facebook page too. Yeah, like us on Facebook. I'm gonna like it. Yeah. Come on, man. Sound like my daughter. No. Just kidding. Awesome. So go to that website, New Paradox, guys, and we love to end the show with a tip of the week. So what is your tip of the week? Do you want to give one or two, or whoever wants to go? I'll say if you're going to get started into the real estate business as a wholesaler, make sure when you go out on your first appointment, you focus on the person and not the actual house. The relationship's going to help you buy the house, not... Great tip. So. Yeah. Great tip. We buy problems, not houses, most of the time, right? So ours is just, mine would be go to your CIREIA meeting and get connected with these people. I mean, that's the quickest way. And the great thing about CIREIA is they have things for wholesalers, for buy and hold people, you get legal advice. They've got attorneys there. I mean, it's a one-stop shop full of resources, and it's up to you on whether you're going to utilize them or not. Yeah, if you meet the right people and rub shoulders with them, it's not about just getting there, it's getting there faster, and that's how you can get there super fast. So thank you guys for being on our show. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for having us. Thank you guys. Next week at CIREIA, we have a class on how to hire virtual assistants to help you with the tasks that you do not enjoy. Join us on April 24th at Broadmoor for this class at 6 p.m. And also, if you want to find out what's happening in other parts of Indiana, as well as learn about different investment strategies, you should attend the May 19th and May 20th Indiana State REIA Conference. For more information about our group and events that we're involved in, go to our website at www.cirea.org. That is CIREIA.org. Thanks, Dustin and Will. Thanks, Dave. Have a great day.
Enjoyed it.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.